Forget the headlines. Erase the official police reports. What you've been told about the tragic death of Chinese superstar, Yu Meng Long, is a calculated lie. For weeks, the world has mourned a supposed accidental fall, a narrative swiftly engineered to silence the truth. But one person knows the real story. One person was trusted with the final, explosive piece of the puzzle just hours before the silence fell. Tonight, the silence is broken. We tracked down the man who held Yu Meng Long's head in his hands for the last time, his longtime, fiercely loyal hairstylist. In a revelation so fraught with danger it could dismantle the most powerful networks in China, the stylist confessed the shocking, mind-blowing plan concocted by investigative journalist Du Qiang, a plan that promised to expose a multi-billion-dollar money laundering ring buried beneath the gilded surface of the entertainment industry. Du Qiang's life was the insurance policy. Yu Meng Long's sacrifice became the trigger. You are about to witness the moment a global conspiracy unraveled, the secret coded into the trim of a superstar's haircut, the USB flash drive hidden in plain sight, and the catastrophic chain of events that proved the official narrative is a censored cinder block thrown on the fire of justice. Stick around, because the next 30 minutes will make you question everything you believe about power, fame, and the price of a celebrity's truth. The air in the private studio was thick with ozone and the scent of fine cedarwood and sandalwood. It was 2 p.m. on a crisp Beijing afternoon, just hours before the gathering that would, officially, claim the life of Yu Meng Long. But in the hushed sanctity of the styling chair, the atmosphere wasn't one of casual preparation, it was a cathedral of finality. The stylist, Lin, a man whose hands had sculpted Meng Long's public persona for nearly a decade, felt the tension vibrating through the silk cape. Meng Long sat unnaturally still, his eyes, usually alight with a charming, almost mischievous energy, were now dark, focused, and heavy with a terrible knowledge. "Lin, my brother," Meng Long said, his voice a low, gravelly whisper that barely cleared the gentle hum of the electric clippers. "This is it. The last time you'll see me like this." Lin stopped, the half-inch of hair hovering in the steel teeth of his shears. He knew Meng Long was not talking about a movie role or a concert hiatus. He had seen the actor grow increasingly paranoid, receiving burner phones that were tossed into a bowl of water after a single call, and communicating only in whispered riddles. The stress was physically scarring the handsome face the world adored. "Don't talk like that," Lin chided, trying to inject normalcy, but his own heart hammered against his ribs. "You look tired, but you're not going anywhere. We have the Phoenix Ascendant premiere next week. No one else touches that hairline." Meng Long chuckled, a hollow sound that echoed the emptiness of the sprawling, luxury apartment. "The Phoenix will ascend, Lin, but not in the way they expect." He leaned forward, his mouth close to Lin's ear. Lin could smell the expensive, earthy cologne that always lingered on the silk of the cape. "Listen to me, and listen once," Meng Long commanded, his breath cold. "The plan, the Project Sentinel, it goes live tonight. Du Qiang set it in motion 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to be his last resort, his nuclear option, but the timetable moved up. They know. They know I have the key." Lin's blood ran cold. Du Qiang. The name was synonymous with danger, a legendary investigative journalist whose exposés had toppled titans of industry and landed him in constant, life-threatening peril. Du Qiang had mysteriously vanished from the public eye 6 months ago. Rumors said he was either in deep cover or, terrifyingly, gone. Meng Long's hand, steady and firm, gripped Lin's forearm. "Du Qiang is not gone, Lin. He's been the ghost in the machine." He realized they would never let him publish his final report, the one detailing the money-laundering pipelines that make the entertainment industry a washing machine for the most dangerous people in the world. He knew the only way to get the truth out was to hide it in the safest, most public place possible, a dead man's legend. The revelation that followed was a dizzying torrent of information that Lin could barely process. It wasn't just a story, it was a blueprint for revolution, delivered in a chillingly methodical manner. Du Qiang's plan, codenamed Project Sentinel, was based on a psychological masterstroke. The moment a celebrity dies under mysterious circumstances, the world, especially the fanbase, becomes a decentralized, unstoppable army of investigators. Official censorship and suppression, Du Qiang theorized, would only fuel the fire and confirm the conspiracy. Du Qiang gave me the file, Meng Long whispered, the word file sounding metallic and heavy. Not the full, encrypted report that's already distributed in 7 dead drops across the globe. No, he gave me the key file. The encryption algorithm. The map to the entire empire of shadow. Meng Long then reached under the collar of his shirt, pulling out a necklace, a simple, elegant silver chain from which hung a plain, cylindrical pendant. It looked like a minimalist piece of jewelry, a gift from a fashion house, perfectly innocuous. This is a modified 128 GB USB stick, Meng Long explained, his eyes locking with Lin's in a desperate plea. It contains the key. It needs 2 things to be accessed, a unique, 12-digit alphanumeric code, and a physical trigger. Lin felt his stomach drop. He had to ask. And the code? The trigger? Meng Long smiled, a genuine, heartbreakingly sad smile that reminded Lin of the naive young man who first walked into his studio. The code is written inside my favorite book, under the last word of the last page of my copy of The Little Prince, the film that started my career. But the physical trigger, Lin, that's where you come in. He gestured to the stylist's tools, specifically Lin's most prized possession, a pair of vintage, Japanese steel shears, the blades so sharp they could slice silk mid-air. Du Qiang theorized that anything I carry would be immediately seized and wiped. They would never think to check a tool used on me. The USB is coated in a special polymer. It will only release the key file after a specific energy frequency is applied to it. A single, high-frequency sonic pulse, like the one generated when this particular pair of scissors snaps shut a certain number of times in a row, within a specific time frame. Lin's hands began to shake, his shears suddenly feeling like a bomb trigger. The number. What is the number, Meng Long? 7, Meng Long breathed out. 7 quick snips. If the USB is in range of the acoustic signature of your shears, and you click them 7 times within 4 seconds, the file unlocks for exactly 60 seconds, and then it deletes itself from the drive and uploads to a pre-programmed, public access file-sharing network in Iceland. The network is called the Ghost in the Mirror. The absurdity was breathtaking. A conspiracy of global magnitude, an international money laundering ring, and the entire structure of the truth hinged on a hairstylist's technique and a 7-click acoustic pulse from a pair of scissors. It was pure Du Qiang, theatrical, untraceable, and utterly genius. Tonight, they've cornered me, Meng Long continued, his voice now a desperate plea. I will go to the party. I will act the fool. I will get them to relax. But I know they are coming for the USB. It's the only thread that can lead back to Du Qiang's true network. They want to retrieve it and stage the death. If I fail, you are the only one who knows the truth. You must wait for the news. You must wait for the cover-up. Once the official statement is released, the clock starts. You will have 72 hours. Find the book. Find the USB. And listen for the ghost in the mirror. Meng Long then did the unthinkable. He stood up, unclasped the silver chain, and placed the USB pendant into the lining of the silk cutting cape Lin had draped over him. The cape Lin would automatically gather up and take home to be dry cleaned later that night, a routine object that no one would ever suspect. Now, finish the cut, brother, Meng Long said, sitting back down, his smile now chillingly serene. Make me beautiful for the final curtain. Lin finished the cut, his hands moving on autopilot, the memory of the conversation a searing wound in his mind. He watched Meng Long leave, a charismatic, doomed prince walking toward his fate. The news broke at 6 a.m. Lin awoke to a frantic string of messages, the chilling headlines splashed across every screen. Yu Meng Long tragically dies in accidental fall after a night of drinking. The immediate, unquestioning nature of the official report was the green light Meng Long had warned him about. The cover-up had begun. Lin flew into action, the weight of the silk cape in his laundry bag feeling like a lead weight. He retrieved the USB from the lining, a simple, cold cylinder. He started by going to Meng Long's minimalist library. He found the copy of The Little Prince tucked away in a place only the actor would know, under the base of a sculpture of a fox. He riffled through the pages, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm. Finally, the last page. Under the final word, a single, minuscule inscription in pencil, J7C39L88MA1B. The code. The next step was the most dangerous. He couldn't go to the police, they were compromised. He couldn't go to the press, they were censored. He had to activate Project Sentinel himself. Lin was not a spy, he was a stylist. But his craft was precision. He locked himself in his studio, setting up his phone to record the ambient sound, just in case. He placed the USB on his workbench, took a deep, shuddering breath, and picked up the shears. He had to do it perfectly. 7 clicks. 4 seconds. The acoustic frequency had to be just right. He pressed the handles of the shears together. Click 1. Click 2. Click 3. Click 4. Click 5. Click 6. He hesitated, his thumb shaking. This single click, this tiny, mechanical action, was the detonator for Du Qiang's plan, a truth bomb aimed at the highest echelon of power. It was the only way to honor his friend's final wish. Click 7. The studio remained silent. Then, a low, barely audible whine emanated from the silver pendant. A tiny, almost invisible green light blinked once. Lin stared, breathless. On his computer screen, a new browser window opened, seemingly of its own accord. It had instantly connected to the encrypted, public access network in Iceland. A file transfer bar appeared, labeled project_sentinel_key_file.dat. The download was instantaneous. The file was tiny, but its implications were seismic. A new window popped up, a secure terminal requiring the 12-digit code. Lin typed the code from the book, J7C39L88MA1B, his fingers flying across the keys. What appeared next on the screen was not a full report, but a detailed, 3-part decoder map. Asterisk the USB matrix, a digital diagram showing how the physical USB was not the key, but merely a single-use sonic trigger designed to prove the cover-up. The true key was a short, specific piece of encrypted audio hidden in the last track of Meng Long's debut album, Just Nice. The USB's activation proved the actor had been eliminated before he could use the audio himself. Asterisk the Du Qiang ghosting protocol, a detailed log of Du Qiang's 6-month disappearance, revealing he had been secretly embedded within the very financial firm implicated in the laundering scheme, using their internal network to inoculate the sensitive data onto their own cloud backups, meaning the cover-up network now secretly held the evidence against itself. Asterisk the final message, a video file. Lin double-clicked. The face of Du Qiang, the journalist, appeared on the screen, his expression calm but deadly serious. If you are watching this, Yu Meng Long is gone, Du Qiang's voice echoed in the room. The ghost is in the mirror. They have murdered a friend and a national icon to silence a truth that should have been published years ago. But they made a mistake. They forgot that the greatest truth can be hidden in the simplest acts of trust. The full report is already seeded across the dark web, hidden in plain sight. Your job is to activate the final lock. The encrypted audio on Menglong's album is the DA encryption key. Once you upload this small key file you've received, the one showing how they orchestrated the official lie, it will connect to the audio, and the entire 200 gigabytes file will unlock simultaneously for the global public. The world will watch the phoenix rise from the ashes of his own death. Lin looked at the screen, at the face of the man who planned his own and his friend's potential deaths to achieve justice. The image was mind-blowing, not for what it showed, but for the sheer, ruthless brilliance of the strategy. It was a digital double-cross, a dead man's final weapon. Lin, his hand steady once more, uploaded the key file. The screen flared, displaying a final, triumphant message: broadcast initiated. Justice will not be silenced. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. Within hours, the global media, unbound by local censorship, picked up the unlocked file from the ghost in the Mirror network. The intricate details of the multi-billion-dollar operation, the names of the high-ranking officials and entertainment executives involved, and the damning, unedited CCTV footage of Menglong's final, terrified moments were now accessible to anyone with an internet connection. The accidental fall narrative crumbled into dust. The truth, revealed through a network of spies, a journalist's sacrifice, a dead actor's trust, and a hairstylist's pair of scissors, was now the loudest voice in the world. Lin had honored his friend. He had activated Project Sentinel. He was no longer just a stylist, He was the keeper of the most explosive secret in the history of the industry, and the final, living witness to the moment a superstar gave his life to expose the rot that consumed his world. The fight for justice, started by Du Qiang and sealed by Yu Meng Long's final act, had just begun. The ghost was watching, and the mirror had been shattered. The sheer, terrifying silence in the penthouse studio was a physical entity, pressing down on Lin. It was 2 p.m., but the sun, usually a cheerful golden sheet pouring through the panoramic windows, seemed muted, filtering through a sky heavy with Beijing smog or perhaps, just heavy with dread. Yu Meng Long, the man whose face sold millions of magazines, was not a client today. He was a condemned man seeking sanctuary. Lin had resumed the cut, the razor-sharp edge of the Japanese steel shears tracing the nape of Menglong's neck. The clink of steel on steel was the only sound, each snip a countdown timer to oblivion. Lin's heart was a frenetic drum against his ribs. "Lin, my brother," Meng Long repeated, his voice barely rising above a low rumble, yet carrying the crushing weight of prophecy. "This isn't about the party tonight. It's about what happens after the party. They think I'm weak, drunk, careless. They think they can retrieve the evidence and close the book. But Du Qiang taught us better." Lin froze, the shears resting against the actor's skin. The casual touch of cold metal felt like an electric charge. "What did Du Qiang teach you, Meng Long?" Meng Long didn't move a muscle, but his eyes, catching Lin's reflection in the large mirror, were blazing with a cold, desperate resolve. "He taught me that in a world of digital surveillance, the most untraceable weapon is ritual and analog trust." Meng Long leaned forward, gripping the arms of the velvet-upholstered styling chair, his knuckles white. The silk cape rustled, and the silver cylindrical pendant, which the world thought was a minimalist piece of designer jewelry, swung briefly into view. "This pendant," Meng Long explained, his voice hushed, "is the key. Du Qiang called it the Sentinel beacon. It's not just a storage drive, it's an acoustic receiver. They know about the file, the 200 gigabytes data dump detailing the full money laundering network. They've planned for me to be searched, the drive seized, the encryption broken by brute force. They believe they have weeks, maybe months." Meng Long's lip curled in a moment of bitter triumph. They don't understand Du Qiang. He knows that no matter how sophisticated their digital defenses, they overlook the simple physical reality of life. He fixed Lin with an intense stare. "The key file, the piece that unlocks the entire 200 gigabytes archive seeded across the global dark web, will only be released if it detects the unique, high-frequency, complex acoustic signature of your shears. Not just any snip. The sound your vintage Japanese steel makes when it closes, 7 times in rapid succession, is unique. It's a signature, Lin. Your signature. Du Qiang spent a month mapping the frequency spectrum of your cutting technique alone." Lin stared at his tools. His favorite shears, a gift from his master, now felt less like a tool of his trade and more like the launch key for an orbital satellite. The idea was chillingly brilliant: turn an everyday, innocuous sound into a single-use digital detonator. 7 clicks, Meng Long whispered, in under 4 seconds. It mimics a rapid, nervous tick, the kind of unconscious gesture you might make while waiting for an elevator. No one would notice. But the Sentinel beacon will register it as a confirmed, authorized trigger signal. The plan's final, most breathtaking layer involved the exchange. Meng Long couldn't be seen handing anything over. The surveillance was already too tight. "I need you to look away, brother," Meng Long instructed, his voice thick with emotion. Lin, trained by years of trust, instinctively turned his back, pretending to check the voltage on the hairdryer. In the mirror, he saw Meng Long quickly unlatch the silver pendant, his movements swift and practiced. Then came the mind-blowing, heart-stopping moment of pure drama. Meng Long carefully peeled back the inner lining of the silk cutting cape Lin was wearing. This cape, a deep indigo blue, custom-made, heavy silk, was Lin's mobile office, something he took everywhere, filled with the static electricity of countless secrets shared in silence. Meng Long pressed the tiny Sentinel beacon deep into a hidden seam within the lining, a pocket so subtle it was only accessible from the inside. He smoothed the silk back down. The entire transfer took less than 3 seconds. Lin turned back, his gaze meeting Meng Long's in the mirror. It is done, Meng Long stated, his face now completely devoid of tension, replaced by a terrible, empty calm. The Sentinel is secured. The code, J7C39L88MA1B, is under the Little Prince's final page. Once you hear the official report, the lie of the accidental fall, the 72-hour countdown to the sonic trigger begins. You must retrieve the USB, find the code, and fire the signal. You are the only living, untraceable link to Qiang's truth. The shears began to hum softly in Lin's hand, a silent promise of the chaos they were about to unleash. Yu Meng Long was paying for his life with the coin of international justice, and Lin, the humble stylist, was now the one holding the hammer. Meng Long rose from the chair. He looked at Lin, not as an actor to a staff member, but as a soldier to his brother-in-arms. He simply nodded, a silent vow sealed between them, before walking out of the studio and toward the waiting car, a ghost already, destined for a staged fate. Did your heart just skip a beat? That 1 hour in a quiet styling studio changed everything we thought we knew about this story. The 7-click acoustic trigger, the hidden seam in the silk cape, Qiang's genius, it's the stuff of high-stakes espionage, but it's the truth hidden under the headlines. If you are as gripped by this mind-blowing plan as we are, you know what to do. Hit that like button and smash subscribe so you don't miss part 3, where Lin finds the book and attempts the terrifying 7-click activation. Now, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the authorities suspected the silk cape, or did they completely overlook Lin's involvement? What is the significance of the number 7 in Qiang's plan? Is it just acoustic, or is it a further code? If you were Lin, would you have been too terrified to make those 7 clicks, knowing the power structure you were about to expose? Let the discussion explode. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.